Hi, welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily. First of all, got to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the UK. Today is Father's Day. I know sometimes across the world it's you have your Father's Day on a different day, but it's Father's Day today, so happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. Now, let's get into the serious business, the transfer news. Hottest story around today, and I have to admit there's not a lot of fresh stories around today. But the hottest story that seems to be flying around today is about Morgan Schneiderlin. And a lot of that is based off of a journalist called Charlie Wyatt, who, to be fair, he's called a couple of transfers right in the past. Well, he's come out and he said in an interview that he believes that Morgan Schneiderlin will join Arsenal this summer. That's what he said. He thinks that Arsenal will get it done. It'll be about 24 million, but they will get it done. It is the player that they really want. He's the sort of number one target for them. And he also feels that Schneiderlin, would prefer to join Arsenal. Now, as I've said a couple of times, Schneiderlin has sort of been the player that we all thought would be the first player that Arsenal would be trying to move for. We know that during the January transfer window, Arsenal took a big look at Schneiderlin and were very, very interested in bringing him in at that time. It didn't happen because Southampton didn't want to sell at the time, and Schneiderlin had sort of agreed to stay with Southampton until the end of the season. But Schneiderlin wants to play Champions League football. Arsenal can offer that. There's also, of course, been linking Schneiderlin with a move to Manchester United, and the links with him to United have been very, very strong over the past few weeks. A lot of people suggesting that Schneiderlin would rather go to Manchester United than join Arsenal. But it's back on again today. Schneiderlin all over the place, that Schneiderlin is the player that Arsenal would like to bring in to the club. And, of course, on the defensive midfielder situation, we were being linked very heavily with Jeffrey Kondogbia, but it's starting to look like Kondogbia could be heading to one of the two Milan clubs, either Inter Milan or AC Milan. But another player, defensive midfielder that Arsenal have apparently inquired about, and I think we spoke about it yesterday, was Sven Bender. Bild newspaper have said that, Arsenal have definitely made an inquiry to Borussia Dortmund about Bender. Bender is on quite good wages at Dortmund, and Dortmund seem to be, they've got a new manager coming in to replace Klopp, and he's interested in getting players like Bender, who are on big wages, off of the wage bill, excuse me, so he can invest in some new players. So Bender, apparently we're hearing, is that Arsenal have made an inquiry to him. Arsenal no longer, kind of resigned to the fact that their bid that they've made for Kondogbia is not going to be enough, because the Milan clubs are both bidding massive money for him. So they've turned their attentions to Bender, and that is what a lot of the other newspapers are saying at the moment. But on that, of course, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But it does appear that the number one target now seems to be Morgan Schneiderlin. Story that I've got to say right now, I'm going to give this story as the worst story of the week. Worst transfer rumor, worst story of the week, story without no grounds whatsoever, is this whole Jack Wilshere thing. Now, we're hearing, again, in the Daily Star today, that Jack Wilshere is torn about moving to Manchester City. He's torn, according to the Daily Star. Now, you know what? Stories like this really, they get you. If you're the fan of a club, whichever club it is, whether you're an Arsenal fan, whether you're a Liverpool fan, Chelsea fan, wherever you are, right, and you start seeing your players getting linked away just because a journalist wants to make a story without no grounds whatsoever, it does get you upset. And this story today in the Daily Star it gets me a bit mad, right? According to them, he's torn about staying at Arsenal and joining Manchester City. They make that assumption without no grounds, no evidence, nothing that he said, nothing that any other player has said. They said he's concerned, and that he's concerned. This is what they're saying, that the arrival of William Carvalho at Arsenal would give him limited time playing at Arsenal. Would mean that he'd get less game time. Now, they're linking him to Manchester City that have also got loads and loads of good midfielders. So he's not like he's going to walk straight into the team at City if he did get that move. Plus, as well, who told him we're signing William Carvalho? At the moment, it's pure speculation, 100% speculation about William Carvalho. So where did they get that from? And then the last bit of it, what made me laugh is that the Daily Star reckoned that he's apparently sounded out some of the England players about living in Manchester. Which England players? I mean, these stories to me are disgraceful, really. It is just literally, how do we create a story? It's a quiet day on the transfer front. How do we create a story that's going to get everybody coming to our page to read it? And they've got a big spread on their back page with Jack Wilshere and with this story. And if you read it, there is absolutely no grounds whatsoever for this story. Nothing. Daily Mirror as well, trying to make some grounds out of this story, saying that also apparently going to offer him a new 5-year contract worth 100 grand a week. Listen, I have to remind people that Jack Wilshere's got 3 years left on his deal. 3 years left. A whopping 3 years left on his current deal. So Arsenal are in a very, very strong position. The other night when we had the end of season event and Ivan Gazidis was talking, one of the things he spoke about a couple of times was the fact that they don't have to sell anybody at the moment because they've got everybody tied into good contracts. They've got a strong team unit. They're looking to strengthen. They're not looking to sell players. So these stories are completely without grounds, very mischievous. We know why they do it, because they want to sell papers. They want to get people to their website. But I just look at it, when I see it's from lots of little bloggers and all that do it. And, you could say, but when you see big papers like The Star doing this, I think, come on, man. There's no grounds to that Jack Wilshere story whatsoever. Or somebody, the journalist who thinks this, come step out and say, this is why I feel that this is going to happen. You're not going to do that because you know that the story is utter garbage. So if you're worried about that, I'd say to you, don't be worried about that whatsoever. Jack Wilshere, listen, if Arsenal were to sell Jack Wilshere, that would be the biggest own goal ever scored at Arsenal. Unless they say moved out Wilshere and bought in Paul Pogba or something like that. It's just not going to happen. So I wouldn't get worried about that. One that is going to happen, though, we all know it's going to happen, is the Petr Cech. Even yesterday, Lauren, who of course used to play for Arsenal, he sent out a tweet literally welcoming Petr Cech to Arsenal and saying that he thinks it's going to be an excellent signing and something that's really going to strengthen us. Listen, a good goalkeeper is so important. The common denominator on all of the teams that have won the Premier League in recent times has been that they've had excellent goalkeepers. Chelsea last year, well, they had two excellent goalkeepers, Cech, and they had Courtois. Manchester City, Joe Hart. You've got to have a very, very good goalkeeper if you're going to win the Premier League, because that goalkeeper will save you points. It's just a no-brainer. And the fact that we can get Cech, he's world-class. He's a world-class goalkeeper. His experience is absolutely amazing. I mean, he's done it at every level. Look at his what he's won. He's just going to be a massive, massive player at Arsenal, and a player that's just going to be massive for that Arsenal back four as well. And with that experience in the team, alongside the youth that we've got, I'm really getting excited about next season. So honestly, I know it's not as glamorous as signing a Benzema or signing a striker like that, but it could be just as important signing somebody like Petr Cech. It really could be just as important as signing a world-class striker that's going to bang you in 30 goals if this guy comes in and saves you 10 goals. And of course, the sad thing about it is it looks like the person might be heading for the exit is David Ospina. Again, we're hearing today that Fenerbahce have agreed terms with Ospina. Whether this is true or not, again, I don't know. I've said this before, that sometimes some of the rumours that come out of Turkey, again, they're even worse than the Daily Stars one. Trust me, they really make them up. But there has been this story that Fenerbahce have agreed to, would like to buy him and are willing to pay £1 million more than what Arsenal paid for him. And there are reports today that he's agreed terms to join, excuse me, to join Fenerbahce. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, I feel very sorry for David Ospina because in his first season, he hasn't really done a lot wrong. He hasn't really done a lot wrong, but it's just, I think, that you get a player like Petr Cech available. You just cannot turn down a player like that. You know, in normal times, you don't get to sign players like that. You just don't. So if circumstances have kind of worked your way in which you can end up signing this player, unfortunately, you're going to have to make a drastic decision on the other goalkeepers are there. I think Szczesny is very lucky to be surviving the sort of second goalkeeper cull if it is going to be Ospina who goes out. But let's wait and see what happens. But you never know. I think I said this last week, but I think it could be this week that Petr Cech gets done. Certainly, the window opens on the 1st of July, so we're going to see this deal getting done fairly soon. I'm sure Arsenal are going to want to get him in at the club as soon as possible, get him over there on that tour when they go over to Singapore, get him playing with the team from early. But it looks like Cech on his way to Arsenal. Let's take a look at some of the comments from you guys. Alan Morris says, Carvalho is young, powerful. If we sign Cech, and he said least important signing in my opinion, Carvalho, Lacazette and Morata, then we will win the league. Well, Carvalho, of course, is a possibility. Lacazette doesn't look like he's moving from Lyon, or if he does, maybe PSG would be the favourites. And Morata's definitely not leaving Juventus. The only place I could see him leaving Juventus for right now would be to go back to Madrid. So I don't think we're going to get any one of those. And I disagree with you, I'm afraid, Alan. Cech is a very important signing. A world-class goalkeeper is so important. I'm telling you, just as I said, look at teams that have won the league. Remember when United went out and bought Van der Sar? It was a game changer for them. You know, I mean, he was a, you know, when you get goalkeepers like that, they're just different league. And of course, he was responding to the question I asked yesterday about Carvalho or Kondogbia. Which one would you prefer? It's kind of looking now that we might not get either of them, that it could be Schneiderlin's the possible player that we go for. Let's see another one. Dashing said that he said, I would prefer Kondogbia. He destroyed us during the first leg of our Champions League match against Monaco. He destroyed our in-form midfield of Ozil, Quazzola and Coquelin on that day, he says. Alan B says Pellegrini's looking to bring in two players that he's watching in the Copa America, Vidal and Charles Agregas. Both of them are box-to-box players. So he says the Jack rumours are BS. Doesn't matter who he's looking to bring in. I mean, unless they made a ridiculous 100 million offer for Jack Wilshere. And even then, I think Arsenal would have to consider it because he's such a cult figure, Jack Wilshere at Arsenal. He would send out all the wrong signals if we sold a player like Wilshere. Alan B also says that he's not interested in Kondogbia or Carvalho. He said Schneiderlin should be our target. So he'll be happy with the news today that there are some people out there, journalists again, unfortunately, saying that he could be on his way. He feels that Schneiderlin will be on his way to Arsenal. Varane says Ospina is too good to be playing second fiddle if we sign Cech. Ospina deserves to go somewhere where he's going to be the number one. So if he obviously goes to Fenerbahce, he will be the number one player. And it's last one here. Life with Cosmic says, Robbie, what are your thoughts about Karim Benzema coming in. I think it'd be absolute quality. Would be the striker that we need. Listen, if we could get Karim Benzema, it would be a wonderful signing. But yet again, I think a signing like Benzema, if that was to happen at Arsenal, that's going to be one of those lastminute.com deals where it goes down to the wire, because deals like that will depend on a lot of things. It would depend on Real Madrid maybe bringing in a player where they then need to offload somebody, a bit like with the Ozil thing. And then maybe Arsenal may be in a position to then pounce. And certainly listening to Ivan Gazidis speaking the other night, they are up for doing those last-minute deals again, because somebody put a question to Gazidis and said, listen, why do we always seem to wait, Arsenal, and get deals at the last minute, done on the last day and stuff like that? And he actually said that, listen, it's a useful thing for us sometimes, because there's certain players, and he named Ozil as one of those players. He said there's certain players that you don't know about are available all summer, but due to circumstances, right at the last minute, they become available. And if you're ready to pounce, you can get them. Same sort of thing with Welbeck last year. Nobody knew that Welbeck was going to be leaving. At the last minute, last day of the transfer window, Falcao came into Manchester United, Welbeck came to Arsenal. So he says it's a very useful thing for a club like Arsenal to kind of hang around to the last minute to see what's available, see if any little bargains prop up, and bang, they're in there. So if the Benzema to Arsenal thing was to happen, I kind of get the feeling that it would be that type of, sort of deal where it happens at the last minute. But at the moment, at this current moment, I'd say that the Benzema to Arsenal thing looks like a really very difficult deal to pull off, because for the major fact that at the moment Real Madrid are not selling Benzema, and Benzema's very happy at Real Madrid. So unless something moves on that, he'll be staying put, and Arsenal will have to look at possible other striking targets. Thanks for watching Transfer Daily today. We will be back tomorrow. And if you're celebrating Father's Day today, have yourself a great day. Thank you very much.